Today's objective: to learn about M365 apps and a high-level overview of what they are. So if you sign into office.com, and I'll show you this in the demo shortly, go to apps, the apps that are available. We'll see that there's Excel, Word, PowerPoint, OneDrive, Sway, Planner, ToDo, Outlook, Power Automate, Power Apps, Power BI, OneNote, SharePoint, Stream, Teams, Bookings, and Forms, Yammer, Whiteboard, Microsoft Lists, and Kazilla. So, and there's a couple other ones as well, but these are the ones we'll be reviewing today for the most part. So let's go into a demo of what these products are. So the first thing you're going to want to do is sign into office.com. Once you sign into office.com, you'll be presented with a list of a bunch of apps here on the left hand side. If I click on all apps, I can see a list of all the apps that are part of Office 365 that we're going to review today. So such as Bookings, Forms, Lists, My Analytics, OneDrive, Power Apps, and I'll go over each one of these. Planner, Outlook, OneNote, so Stream, Sway, Teams, Microsoft ToDo, Yammer, Word, and Whiteboard. Primarily those are the apps I'm going to review today. So the first thing I want to show you is the normal Word, Excel, PowerPoint products. So if I just go back to the home page, you'll notice there's this Install Office button here. When I click on this and select Office 365 apps, so that will install Outlook, desktop application, OneDrive for Business, Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. So once those apps are installed, I can go to Excel as an example, and you'll notice this is the desktop app of Excel. I can also obviously access the web version of Excel as well, or Excel, or the web version of Word. Those are, depending on the license you have, determines if you can access the web and desktop versions or just the web versions of the product. The web version of the product has more limited feature set, but for most users is applicable and will serve your needs. You can install the Office applications on up to 5 different devices. So if you have a tablet and a cell phone and a couple computers, you can definitely do that. As you can see, I'm now signed in as a user, Alex, but I can sign in different profiles. It's going to use the same Office applications. So let's take a look at the web version of Office and Word, or sorry, of Excel and Word as an example. So we'll launch Excel here. So as you can see, I'm opening Excel workbook, and it's bringing me, and it's opening a new document. Notice one of the first things you'll see here is if I click on the data tab, there's not exactly the same features, but a lot of things like I can insert basic formulas, I can do pivot tables, do a lot of the stuff the desktop version has. So I'm also going to launch the desktop version so you can see the comparison side to side here. So it's launching Excel, and I will just open a blank workbook. And you'll notice if I go to the data tab here, I'll get things like get data and some other stuff that if I go back to the web version, I don't have those same feature set available to me. So that's an example of Excel, and Word as well will have the same limited feature set. So let's take a look at OneDrive. So here, if I click on the OneDrive icon for business, notice that it's giving me my OneDrive location with a bunch of different shared libraries. So it's basically way to store and share files that are in the cloud. So I have a list of a bunch of files, Excel files, OneNote, Word files, different folders within this location. So I can click on a specific folder. notice I modified book 1. I could rename this. I could share this with another person in my organization. If I wanted to, I could say that they have edit rights. I could allow editing or set an expiration date on a file, say sharing with this person. I can even have a password protected file. So a lot of different options when working with OneDrive. One of the nice features I like to use is I like to use, everybody's very familiar with working with Windows Explorer. So one of the nice features is if I'm logged into OneDrive, you'll notice at the bottom here of my screen, I'm currently signed into OneDrive. I can select a specific folder. So for example, if I, let's say, had, let's go into this project, or Mark 8 project here, and we'll go somewhere. So here's folder, design folder. I have a bunch of files here. I can select this sync button at the top here, and this also works within Teams. I'll show you that after. I'm going to click open. It's going to sync that location of files down to my desktop. So what that means is it's now syncing those files. So that was Mark 8 project team, and if I look at it, I have Mark 8 project team documents listed here. I can expand that, and I have the design folder available to me. I guess I shared the higher level folder initially, but what these different status symbols means is if I was to open a one of these files, so let's just open one of these, you'll notice that there's a cloud icon. It switches, the file then switches to a green checkbox. That means the file is, the cloud icon means it's stored in the cloud. I haven't synced it to my local workstation. This means it's synced down because I've actually opened this workbook, so it's saved a local copy on my workbook. If you right click on a file, you now have the share button, view online, version history, always keep on this device, and free up space. So if I click on free up space, notice the green checkbox goes away in a second, and I'm back to the cloud. I may have to refresh the screen, but it should go back to a cloud icon, which means it's now stored in the cloud and not actually on my machine. Another app your organization could be using is Microsoft Teams. So you'll notice I have this Teams comes with a web version and a desktop version you can download and install. They very much look the same. So if I select Teams icon here to launch Teams web version, we'll just wait for that to come up. So what Microsoft Teams is a collaboration tool, so I can communicate with other members of my organization, and so I could easily, create a new post within what's called a channel and a team. I can share files that are stored inside of SharePoint, and I can also surface other third-party applications. So I can hit the plus button here. I can add other tabs with, I can embed an Excel file, or we'll review some of these other things like Power BI report, or SharePoint document library, or other third-party, lots of different third-party apps I can embed in here. So you could pretty much surface a lot of information that you may be using in Office within a team, and then communicate around that. So I can get somebody's attention. So if I created a new post, let's say within this channel, start a new conversation, I can start typing @ symbol. This is called @ mentioning people, and I can actually @ mention Alan, for example, and then start typing a message, and Alan will get a notification saying that this new message is coming to this channel. That's just a very high level overview of what Teams is. Obviously there's a lot more to it, but that's a great product to reduce the amount of email you may be getting in your inbox within an internal organization. Let's now cover SharePoint. So within Teams, I can easily go to Files tab here. There's no files in this particular team, but let's go into marketing project team design. You'll notice, here's some bunch of messages within this file, files itself that are being shared. Here's a list of files. I can also open this up in SharePoint. I could also click on the sync button, which is very similar to what we did before within SharePoint to sync a folder back to OneDrive. So as you can see, all these products are very interconnected. So I'm going to open this up in SharePoint, and it's going to surface those exact same files to me within SharePoint. If I go back to our main SharePoint site, so SharePoint is sort of an internal intranet. Maybe that simplistic view, but as you can see, I have a bunch of news here on this page. I have local weather, some hot topics. I've surfaced some other articles, and as you saw, it was surfacing in the documents within here. So you can easily create it almost an internal web page that your internal people. So I can put different widgets on these pages. You can see my frequent sites that I've visited. So that's a very high level overview of what SharePoint is. Another product we can look at that we have overlooked that we all typically use is Outlook, or email application. So I can access my Outlook web app here. So I'm just going to click on that. It's going to open and launch sort of webmail version of Outlook. So as you can see, here's all my email. See different inboxes I have. So very similar to any email client that you may be using. You can also access this on my mobile device. I also have the ability to install Outlook desktop application. So once again, I can click on that and see all my emails. So I can work in either one of the two applications. If I like the web version, I can obviously work in that, or the desktop version. I have the ability to work in that as well and surface the information there. Another app I love using is OneNote. Think of OneNote as your sort of digital notebook. So in that notebook, I'm just going to launch OneNote here. In that notebook, I have sections and I have pages. So we're just going to open this notebook, and I'm not sure if there's anything yet. So we basically have a section called Project 1, and I have a section called Meetings, and then I have pages within that, and I can just freeform on this here, and I can embed videos or a bunch of text. So this is for the webinar. I can do formatting of this. I can place other stuff. I can create lists. So very much, I can, if I have a stylus, I can draw within here on a tablet. So very, very functional. I can also download the Windows app for OneNote. And that'll open up here in a second. And it's looking, I can open up existing apps, or notebooks that I've just opened, or I can add new notebooks. So I can go back to that Project 8 notebook that we're looking at, and I'm now opening this up, and I see the sections at the top here, my different sections, Project 1 and Meetings, exact same stuff we saw in the web version. So I can use this also on a mobile device to capture notes, or I can also have embedded audio notes and all sorts of things. So that's what OneNote is. Another tool is Yammer. Yammer is a tool that allows you to connect, share knowledge, and build communities across your organization. So if I click on the Yammer app here, you'll see there's a bunch of content that I have in here. So I've have a article with a picture, and so I can click on that. Just showing the picture I can download. As you can see, I can comment on whatever the article may be. We can praise people within the organization. I can see different communities that I may be part of. So very much a social type tool. Another product that people don't use is Microsoft Bookings. So what it is a online scheduling tool and appointment manager for inside and outside of your organization. So the way this works is if I go to Bookings, I'm going to get presented a home page here and a calendar and a bookings page. So you first have to create a calendar and then go to the bookings page, and you can create a color scheme and put a message, and then you basically publish your bookings page with a message, and you can set up different appointments. So once you've published your page, you can also add different services, and they have different templates available. So I've published a financial services business, and I've published the page out. This is what the page would look like. So I have different options for my customers to select, different types of sessions. So if I go to this page and select intro to personal finance, I can select a date, and then I'm going to get staff members I can obviously add who I want to book with. I can select a time. Once those bookings happen, I then have a calendar, so if I booked an appointment with Alex, Alex is going to get a notification with the appointment in his calendar, and then the customer is going to, after they've booked it, they're going to get a page that looks like this. It's going to potentially have address. I can go in and reschedule, or I can cancel a particular booking that I maybe have set. And let's go back to the calendar once again, and let's go to, I set something for the 23rd here, and I can manage all staff or appointments that I can book different time off. I can manually put stuff in here instead of having my customers do it. So very flexible scheduling tool that's part of Office or M365. Another app available to me is Microsoft ToDo. It is a app that allows me to manage, prioritize, basically a task list. I can create my own custom list, so let's launch that. So here I have tasks that are available, and I can mark them completed, or I can create a new list, webinar list, let's just call it, and then I can within that create a task. So let's call this webinar test 2. So as I have a webinar list, the nice thing with this is once it's in here, and I can manage this on my mobile device or in the web page, I can also go to Outlook, and you'll notice that I have my tasks. So let's just switch and go back to tasks. Within Outlook, you'll notice I have my task that I just created in ToDo is synced automatically into Outlook desktop client. And also I would see this if I launched the Outlook Office app. So we'll just launch that. And you'll notice that I also have the ToDo app is surfaced here as well within the web application with my list that I just created. So I can mark that as completed. I can add a new task. I can see surface all the tasks that have been assigned to me, so I can assign this to other individuals. I can mark certain tasks as important. So let's just go back to all tasks here. So I can add that to my day. I can remind me. I can set due dates. I can repeat it. I can select categories. I can add files, or I can add notes to that task as well. So I can also sort it. So very good task tracking application. Another app is Microsoft Lists, which is fairly new to the Microsoft apps family. It's basically SharePoint lists that are surfaced into a product called Lists. So if I was to click on that, I would get let's just do that quickly here. I can create a new list. I can select from certain templates that they have available. I can import from Excel, or I can create a blank list if I want to. I already created a list here. So I called it webinar list, and I can create my own custom fields within here. So as you can see, I have these different column types. If I was to add a new item, I can click on that and just manually type it into this grid, or I can click on, so we'll click off of there. I could exit the grid view, and there's my list that I have. If I was to click new up here, I can get this form as well. So it provides me a form with all the fields I've added. So I had due date, resource, and I can add attachments to that file. So once I have a list, I could then go into Teams and I could surface that list within the team itself. So if I was to go to the General tab here, hit plus, I could go to lists, and I could select a list that is available to me. So we'll say it's save, and the list would be available to me. And this, I could add an existing list and add that list that I just had within Teams. So all these products intermingle with each other, and they allow different pieces to be serviced within different applications. So that's one of the things with the Microsoft ecosystem, is that you get the collaboration between all apps. Another app is Microsoft Whiteboard. So what that is basically a digital whiteboard. So I create a new whiteboard. And these are, I could have a Teams meeting as an example. So I could have online meeting and then share this, a particular notebook within that team, and actually have it available. So I can, insert a note here. I can draw within here. I can actually download the desktop application as well, which allows a little more features than the web version. I can share these. So let's just webinar. So I'm going to close this now. Let's go back into the whiteboard again. And it's going to go back to the whiteboard that I just had. If I open that, I can see that everything I had in here is saved. I can create them, share them with other people within the organization. I could have a link to be shared out to individual users. So just think of it as a digital whiteboard. And another product is Microsoft Forms. Allows you to create surveys, quizzes, and polls, and see those results in real time. So let's open up Microsoft Forms. I can create a new form. Give it a title, so it's very easy to use. Webinar number 2. I can add a description. I can add different types of questions. So it could be a rating type question. Here's a form that I've already created. I can assign a theme. So here's the form with a rating question and a comments box. I can give different themes. I could share this with other people within the organization. So there are different themes available to me. Switch to this one. And then I can see responses within here, and I can actually export that to Excel and see what people have responded to different questions. So very easy tool to get the survey poll response sort of information within the Microsoft environment or ecosystem. We also have 3 other apps that are part of the Power Platform family. Those apps are Power Apps, Power Automate, and Power BI. What Power Apps is, it's basically allows you to build your own mobile apps within your organization and surface information from different parts of M365. So as an example, if I click on it, here's a list of a bunch of template apps that are listed here. And I've just created one that's basically org search finder. So you don't need any programming experience to develop apps. They're meant to be just drag and drop to build your different screens. So as you can see, I have a search screen, I have profile screen. So these are different screens. If I was to play the app, here's what the app looks like. So I can go back to the search and just search for an employee name. So let's say Lee. We'll do a search. Director, I can select that particular employee. I can see who the direct reports are. I can see if who this person reports to. I can see their title. I can see which department they're part of. See other information, their email address and such. So these apps are extremely powerful and can be connected to different all sorts of different data sources. So the next app is Power Automate. Power Automate is a workflow engine. Allows you to do approvals or have different pieces of information go from one system to another and automate that process. So some of the templates are examples would be, every time I get a push notification every time I receive an email from a particular individual. I can get a push notification, today's weather, send a customized email when a new file is added, save Office 365 attachments to OneDrive automatically. There's all sorts of different connectors that are available. So these are different services. So as you can see, SharePoint, OneDrive, Twitter, Dropbox, Yammer, on and on. So there's like hundreds of different connectors that are available. Let me just go to the connectors page here to show you. So these are all the connectors that are available. As you can see, very large list of different connectors. So pretty much a lot of different services that are out there, we can have solutions built around. The next app was the Power BI. So Power BI is a reporting tool. So you can take different pieces of information and then create charts and graphs and tables on that information. So here's a report of Contoso Division 2 sales. I have a line chart, total sales by period and division. I have a pie chart here. So different pages, and you can surface this information on a tablet or a mobile device. Makes it really easy to find patterns in information and provide nice visual charts to your end users. Another product is Microsoft Planner. So basically it allows you to manage projects at a very simplistic point of view, but basically allows you to create plans, organize and assign tasks, share files, and get progress updates. So once I've launched Planner, gone into a plan here, you'll notice that I have different, have this plan with basically different lists. So I have a to-do section, message and branding with different tasks, launch events, after party. Here's a particular project tracking board that I've created. I can also see different views of this. So I can see a schedule, I can see charts of different tasks that are maybe outstanding. Within a task itself, I can set that it's completed. I can physically drag it to a different area. I can open that task and set a different due date on it. Create labels on those, so I can specify a due date, I can set priority, I can create a sub checklist, I can add comments within those tasks that people will get notified of. So very simple, and it's a lot easier to use than something like Microsoft Project, for example, but it has way less features than obviously Project, but it's an easy planning application to use. Other apps that are available are My Analytics, which allow you to get better overview of where you're spending your time. So it could be, where your employees are spending time, if it's in email or within meetings, or how much time they're actually spending on that email. So let me just click on My Analytics here. Not sure if I have this set up, but you can see well-being, how many days, how, if your employees are working after hours, you can see that sort of stuff within here, depending on your sharing rights. So yeah, that's just a way to surface productivity information within the Office ecosystem. Another app is Stream, just allows you to create or store videos, presentations, training sessions within sort of similar to YouTube, but within an organization. So I can go to Stream and actually store those videos. Another app is Sway, allows you to create interactive reports, presentations similar to PowerPoint, but a little bit different in that it's more of a drag and drop interface and create sort of my own web pages that are within my organization. Another application is Kazilla, which is basically a simple and secure mobile chat app for work. So similar to using Teams or Yammer, once again, just a different product. I can also surface some external information within Kazilla. So webinar recap. Today we reviewed all the apps that are available in M365.